All right, everyone, we are back. Game number 3, VBU Neon up against DA Obsidian. Kendo, Mr. Moose at the analyst desk here for game number 3 and a potential sweep for DA Obsidian going into week 3.
Yeah, and this is dire straits. We'll say it again for VBU Neon. You don't want to lose, and things need to be adjusted. That being said, will we see an adjustment in the bans? Not so far. We still are getting the Nocturne ban. We're still getting the Vel'Koz ban, and will they finish it up? It looks like Tristana again. First 3 bans, still uniform.
Yep, fairly uniform for Obsidian as well. The Fiddlesticks, the Anivia, and the Mordekaiser will go down as Obsidian picks up the Ziggs. Neon says, we are done letting Void on this Corki. We're going to pick up the Corki ourselves. And, I mean, we're going to see whether that goes to Merciful Crow or to Forgotten Turtle. I assume that it's going to go to Merciful Crow here in this game. I mean, I don't know if this is more of a, we're done letting you take this pick, or, hey, we think that we're going to be able to make it happen. Either way, Void's playing a new champion in this game.
Yeah, interrupt what has been working, and Void has done a great job with the Corki of getting a lead early, a slight one, and then maintaining it, continuing the trend. The stonk has been upward throughout, and it's not a big gap, but it's a continuous gap that builds upon itself. You're getting, I guess, a compounded gap.
A compounded interest gap.
Yes,
You're getting your tax-free diamond hands ready to go for DA Obsidian. And I mean, at the end of the day, they are getting what they got in that last game. Pony Goat and Corey JJ had a phenomenal bottom lane, and they're going to pick up the Alistar and the Ziggs yet again. And on top of that, they get the Xin Zhao as well. And so, I mean, for VBU Neon, they're gonna have to play against the same composition yet again. High engage from the Xin Zhao, high early game jungle potential coming through. Ziggs with the strong performances from Pony Goat in games 1 and in game 2. Phenomenal in game number 2. VBU Neon, now they've got a third attempt to try to play against Obsidian. They know what's coming. They know what they're going to be looking for, and now it's going to be up to Neon to deliver. Lee Sin is going to be the last pick of this first pick phase, and they're going to deny the Braum again. Could this potentially be leaning towards a Seraphine support in this game? We're going to find out momentarily, but that Braum is not going to be part of game number 3.
Well, interesting. If it were, yes, okay. I'm interested to know, is Lee Sin still kind of a flex pick? Because if I remember right, they nerfed a little bit of Lee Sin's damage recently in a patch. I know they were flexing Lee Sin top and jungle for the longest time. I feel like one of those got completely reversed.
Oh, no, I think it's Lee Sin's going to definitely be in the jungle here for Jungle Keep. But I'm a little confused at these bans actually coming through from Neon. Yuumi and Braum are going to be taken out. I completely forgot the Alistar has already been taken for the support for Corey JJ. This might have been a misplay coming through. They maybe didn't see the Alistar was already picked up for the support role, and they just gave away their bans. Obsidian's going to say, I mean, we don't care. We've already picked up our support. You're just limiting your own pool. I mean, the Leona's already taken for them as well. And they pick up a Malphite. So they got in what more engage of tool here for Neon in the top lane. The Rock could potentially be fairly stable, but they're going to have to go up against it. Nico for Void would be a strong mid laner, one of his champions that we've seen him play as, at least recently for Void on op.gg. So one of his recent champions, and he is going to pick up the Nico. Are we getting a Yasuo for this last pick? 20 seconds.
This could be interesting. This could be very interesting. Okay, hear me out here. Hear me out here.
I'm listening.
This is a lot of flex potential. Okay, okay. I was going to say this could be a Nico top, a Ziggs mid, and an Alistair Yasuo bot lane. I'm not sure if you've ever done that before, but you throw in a little bit of, it's quite cheesy. It would be the ultimate of disrespects, but they're going to go with a little bit more of a standard thing here with the Aatrox, most likely going top lane, Nico mid lane, and keep everything kosher.
And what does Neon pick for their final spot? It will be the Kai'Sa coming through for Forgotten Turtle. He has played well with Kai'Sa before, not in the league, I don't think. I don't remember if he played Kai'Sa in week 1 against Zenigma, but he will have a strong bottom lane available for him. This time, Leona with the level 2 pressure, going to be up against the Alistair Ziggs. I mean, they could potentially have a really strong bottom lane. I mean, this is probably their earliest advantage game in terms of potential damage that they can get in the early game, potential engage that they have with this Leona, with the Zenith Blade. If he's able to land the Zenith Blade into the stun, it could be really easy for them to be able to get those early trades, to get those kills, especially now with a Lee Sin, another really strong early game ganker. And this could be a really strong game for VBU Neon in the early game. It is something that they have lacked in the last 2, so I like that they're switching it up, but I don't know how much experience all of these players have on these champions. I don't know how many Malphite games Para04 has. I don't know how many jungle games we're going to be seeing from Jungkook on the Lee Sin. Same thing for Merciful Crow on the Corki. We do know, however, for DAO Obsidian, these are comfort picks. These are picks that have won in games 1 and 2 for the Xin Zhao, the Alistair, and the Ziggs. And it's going to be up to, maybe it's not the same power from the Nico and the Aatrox in the early game. Could give VBU Neon the advantage that they desperately need to be able to get those early objectives.
I'm actually going to go a step further because, yes, VBU Neon definitely look extremely good in the early game. They can be oppressive even early on in this matchup. My question is, because we have not seen it yet, we haven't seen any sort of aggression utilized, will they have the aggression to put themselves into that position, or are we already seeing a team that feels like it's defeated and is banning Braum and Yuumi in the back end when Alistair's already picked?
And that's the big point as well. That's the big question. I mean, why was the Yuumi and the Braum banned out? I want to give the benefit of the doubt. I think maybe they just didn't see the Alistair. They were like, oh, it's an Alistair, and they were thinking maybe it was, Aatrox or something in the top lane. I don't know. Maybe it was an Alistair top, and they were worried about the other supports coming through. Regardless, I mean, we don't know that. We can just assume that, maybe it was just an error coming through from VBU Neon. It wasn't like, because they banned out or because, they lost those 2 supports that they weren't able to build a comp around it. It wasn't like, Void and Ponygoat weren't able to play other champions, even if the Nico and the Aatrox were banned out. I'm sorry, not Ponygoat, but Void and Ted Garcia. But regardless, little bit of an error there could potentially cost you these games moving forward against another crucial team when you're very even against another team. It's gonna boil down to, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt this time. This time I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for these bans. But as we look into these drafts, we've been talking a little bit about VBU Neon. DAO Obsidian, though, they've got another really strong, engage-heavy lineup that they can use with the Nico getting that multi-man stun potentially with her something blossom, Pop Blossom, I think, or whatever it's called. I forget the name. I forget the name of her ultimate. It's a stun, and it's big, and it looks like a flower, and it blooms. Regardless, a lot of engage tools for Obsidian. Will they be able to keep up in the early game and maybe get those objectives again? Or will we finally see Jungkook get that macro control that they need to get into that early game?
You did nail it, my friend. It is the Pop Blossom that comes out. And
nice.
Yeah, so well done, well done. Round of applause. We'll give you the full around my little camera space here. My question is going to continue to be just that. We are going to see Jungkook on the Lee Sin. This is a higher skill champion. than most. I mean, I've seen a lot of really good Lee Sins. I mean, you can put YouTube on, type in Lee Sin, and see some of the best insect plays you've ever seen in your life. And then you can go into the rift with me, and chances are, if we have a Lee Sin on our team, it's going to be an absolute potato. I think every one of us has experienced the potato sin that has graced the rift more often than not, especially when on our side of said rift. So I want to see better gameplay. I want to see adjustments out of everyone. They have a potential, if they can get out, and they can get out early, to snowball with their comp. But if they don't, this may get ugly and very fast.
You know, Kendo, though, and I feel like we've discussed the drafts really well. The games should be starting here momentarily. But I have a segue for you. I have a segue. We've been talking about early games. We've been talking about early advantages.
Okay.
And we've been talking about, you know, dragons. Dragons have fire.
Yes.
What's normally in the morning that you normally heat up that most players and most people need to have to wake up and get those wins early on? What do you think I'm talking about here, Kendo?
Toaster pastries.
You know, you're very close. You're extremely close. That's my second pick, but my first pick is coffee, Kendo.
Oh,
Coffee.
that's right.
Yeah, and Kendo, you know, we were talking about this. AM Grind, one of Excellency's sponsors, they've got a solid offer for you guys. Kendo, you want to tell them all about it?
You know, if you like your coffee on the rocks, folks, you want to get yourself over to AM Grind, amgrindcoffee.co. I don't know how they pulled that one off of .co. You like it, Coffee Co? There we go. I need a little bit of decaf in my life, to be perfectly honest, because if I put too much caffeine into my body, I will explode, ladies and gentlemen. But On the Rocks is literally one of the names of their flavors, and they gathered their coffee beans from all around the world. Almost all the blends are organic. You can get yourself some coffee as well from AM Grind with the promo code XLNC. If I remember correctly, you said it was 10% off. 10% off?
Yeah, 10% off your order.
Ooh,
Sounds about
yeah.
right. So, I mean, get yourself out there, guys. AM Grind, thank you guys so much for sponsoring the Light League. And with that plug taken care of, we're going to take a quick break before we get into game number 3. VBU Neon versus DA Obsidian coming up in just a moment. We'll see you guys shortly. All right, everyone, we are back. We are live. Game number 3, XLNC Light League action. Mr. Moose and Kendo here for you with game number 3 action between DA Obsidian and VBU Neon. Kendo, this is do or die for Neon in game number 3.
Yes, it is, and I really want to see something. I want to see a little bit of shenanigans here on the Rift going into... Oh, we may get something. Here's Para. That's going to be Ted. They're going to be going at it.
A little bit of back and forth, but nope, going to be just fine. A little extra movement speed with the seismic shard. Malphite's going to go back. Feeling good, though. Going to be able to get a little bit of damage onto Ted Garcia, but nothing that he can't heal back from. But one thing we want to point out here, Void, he's feeling confident. He's feeling scrappy. He's got the Dark Seal on the Nico for game number 3. I mean, he's feeling pretty good. I mean, they won game 1 and 2 solidly because of those early game macro controls, and now they're going to be looking to finish the job. Will they be able to make that happen here today is the big question on everyone's mind. You definitely do not want to go 1 and 5 early in this tournament bracket, especially with how the other games are turning out. That could potentially put you on the lower end of these early potential engages coming in from both teams, or not early engages, but early standings. And that's going to be rough to come back from. Neon at least wanting to walk away with a win here.
And then if you think about the fact for this, for Void, outside of the death by the Poppy at the very tail end of the game, that was a perfect a perfect KDA game up until the tarnished mustache of the Corki ended up falling to the Poppy. I get the feeling this is a good buy. This is a very confident Void, and rightfully so, because we haven't had any indication that Void should be otherwise. Only 2 total deaths in this entire series thus far.
And, you know, I mean, that's a really good KDA. I mean, Void is really putting a name for himself as potentially the MVP of this series. Flash can get used by Corey JJ in the bottom lane potential gank. And Forgotten Turtle going in is going to flash away, but this time we got Lee Sin there. He's going to miss his Sonic Wave, but he is still at full health. A lot of damage on to KGB and will end up going down. KGB will die, and a flash into the Zenith Blade gonna land onto Corey JJ. It will be a kill onto Cheese Mix. No, it will not be a kill onto Cheese Mix. Going to be able to survive that one. The bouncing bomb does not land. Meanwhile, on the top lane, Ted Garcia getting a kill onto Para04, but across the rift, it is a 2-for-1 in favor of VBU Neon.
This was a perfect scenario. They may end up staying too long, and this is going to be a wave that is going to freeze towards... Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. They are so close to being taken out. They need to get out. They need to allow the Ziggs to have the freeze. And despite what was an extremely good early push from VBU Neon, they're going to lose out in both lanes overall in the CS gap.
You know what, though? If you can dodge a ball, you can dodge a bomb, Kendo. And that time, Forgotten Turtle was able to dodge one. As we get into the top lane, unfortunately, it's going to be Para04 going to potentially be knocked up and taken away. Back to the dog Kyle as he gets crumbled away. Nope. Gonna be just fine there. But now let's take a look at something in the mid lane. The root is gonna land onto the Corki, uses the Valkyrie, uses the flash, but Void with the enchanted passive, going to be able to use the inherent glamour to take that kill. So we'll be able to tie up the kills here, but we do have a replay about what happened a little earlier there, Kendo. Let's take a look at what happened in the bottom lane.
A little bit too far forward as the counter gank coming in, and this is what I've wanted out of Jungkook this entire series. Get involved, counter gank along with your opposing jungler, because there are a lot of times the matchups have been favorable for Jungkook. Just needs to be there, is able to really bolster the team, and outside of what happened in the top lane, your team gets off to an extremely good start.
Taking a look at those good starts, indeed it will be a good Jungkook kill onto the dragon.
No.
Top lane, though, look at the state of this wave. Para04 will crumble yet again under the pressure of the Darkin Warrior. Ted Garcia gonna go 2-0-0 in this early game. I mean, Para04 is not having a fun time here early on. Falls short yet again. And now, I mean, yes, this is the first dragon of the series for VBU Neon, but they're still behind by 800 gold moving into the 6-minute mark.
But it feels like somebody's making adjustments. It feels like somebody's listening to what is being said needs to happen. The adjustments are there, and now Jungkook could change the entire complexion. That is a huge push into the turret. They're going to lose the Leona on this, and that is an extremely dangerous Alistar.
Nicely done. Great play coming through from Corey JJ. And we got another replay actually to show you as well with Corey JJ deploying really well. Oh, pardon me. No replays there, but I want to shout out Corey JJ again. You know, has some really good knockups on this Alistar. Really good performances with those knockups and has played exceptionally well. That gank earlier against the Corki, Merciful Crow, going to go down. For Turtle, though, playing with fire here, he wants to be able to get these minions, and will get a little CS, but will be able to barely survive. Less than 100 HP there on this Kaisa.
That is a very dangerous spot to be as the Kaisa, because you know that the Alistar has the flash still. could empty out the entire combo upon you and just end you right there. We'll decide to take the back, and I do believe we have a video of the top gank from earlier. I believe we're gonna go to that. Yes, that is exactly, or excuse me, the bot gank from earlier. Oh, okay. Yep, it looks like we got the wrong one. Tail end. It's okay. Things do happen, and I don't even introduce them right. That being said, you know, pour yourself some AM grind, right?
You know, we need some coffee here. It's late. You know, like you said, get
Exactly.
that decaf going. Regardless. Oh, Unstoppable Force gonna land, and it will be the shutdown. Ted Garcia will finally die. Nice use of that Unstoppable Force from Para04. Gonna be able to pick up a kill at least. Meanwhile, while we were talking about that, Jungkook actually goes down in his own jungle. Void was able to use his Pop Blossom to get a stun at the red buff a little earlier, and so that is a 2-1-1 Lee Sin at this point. He's gonna go for this Rift Herald with Ted Garcia down, but Para04 is actually going back. He's getting no assistance from his top laner, and with KGP and on top of that Corey JJ are both in the area. The flash of the knockup, it will be the Xin Zhao picking up the smite, and the Rift Herald goes to DA Obsidian.
That's the type of bullying I wanted to see out of Jungkook this entire time, and instead we are seeing it from the Xin Zhao. Everyone getting out ahead, and that Dark Seal slowly but surely becoming a problem, a big problem, despite the fact that Merciful Crow's been doing a very good job in the mid, just keeping up in the CS, not necessarily doing anything out of line or getting herself in an extremely tough spot. I do want to say, the one solace that you can take if you're Para is you do have both your boots as well as the Bramble Vest, so you're not going to be allowing the Aatrox an easy time trying to gank you under tower. So, kind of a good thing? Not really.
It's something, as we do get an engage coming through. Forgotten
1-2.
Turtle will die to the pony. Go to the Pop Blossom, does land on to Cheese Mix, who will die, as we do get a kill in the top lane as well. Para04 will make that a 1-for-1 as the Kaisa will pick up a kill on a Corey JJ, making it a 2-for-2. Cheese Mix and Para will die, but so will Corey JJ and Ted Garcia. Top and supports both go down, but unfortunately for Forgotten Turtle, he might actually die here. Has to flash away, overcommitting to those turret plates. Will be able to survive, and on top of that, the last little bit of that second turret plate going to survive in the bottom lane here for for VBU Neon, with the Rift Herald getting summoned by Corey JJ. Nicely done though, coming in from DA Obsidian, being able to use that Rift Herald and get themselves into a 2.3 thousand gold advantage.
They are working on pulling this Drake, and I like the fact that they are going after it. Non-stop action yet again for VBU Neon, but it's been too long. They are going to be forced off of it. And Moose, this is exactly where they want to be. You can see the change in mentality. They're most likely going to have to give away this Mountain Drake, but they are contesting the important neutral objectives.
They did contest they tried to go for the Rift Herald. They don't get this dragon. And on top of that, Ted Garcia is going to go down to Para04 again. So
Mercy.
In the last little bit of time, the gold lead and the objective control has gone back over to DA Obsidian, Kendo. But, you know, still going to be able to get some opportunities for VBU to come back from this one. They're not out of this one just yet. They did pick up a dragon, and they picked up some kills as well. Kendo, it does look like we do have another replay ready to go from that bottom lane scuffle just a couple of moments ago. Let's take a look at that.
This is just a rough spot. Credit to the team for being there and for Jungkook to utilize the... Sorry, excuse me. But getting there, getting to the flank in order to actually keep them in that. That being said, the team effort, it didn't go unnoticed. It ended up kind of being a wash with the exception of the plates lost. And you can't ask for a better defense there. Well, you can, but I feel like they put themselves in a very good position. These are the types of bend but don't break scenarios that we need out of VBU Neon to really see themselves through. And here is Para. I don't know that that's an Aatrox you want to chase.
Well, he does have Unstoppable Force. That is the kill condition here. He will get the Seismic Charge into the damage. He could potentially go for this. Not quite just yet, but Ted Garcia actually staying in the lane. What are you doing, buddy? He does pop World Ender, but it's not going to be enough. Para04 will finally get some revenge onto Ted Garcia. At least something going in favor of VBU Neon, as it does look like we are going to be getting the Dragon's Rage. Going to land the kick onto Corey JJ. Crescent Guard, though, going to be getting, unfortunately, Cheese Mix out of position. Wind becomes lightning into the stun from the Alistair, and almost getting the kill onto Jungkook. The Infernal Bomb, just so much damage early in this point in the game.
I'm sorry, they're not out of the woods just yet. We've seen the Pony Goat pull off some of the best snipes the entire day, and instead it's gonna be on Forgotten Turtle, taking Forgotten Turtle almost down to death.
Oh, he survived! Gosh, that was less than 20 HP for Forgotten Turtle. He uses Killer Instinct to get back into a decent position. He did not realize that they were all still there. He survives, but still a 5,000 gold advantage for DA Obsidian, and now they're looking for turret number 2. They're inevitably going to be able to pick this up once they get into the turret plates going down. However, KGB biting off a little more than he can chew. He gets KFC, but ends up dying in the process for his order. Man, unfortunate they're coming through for DA Obsidian. KGB does die, but does look like we have another replay ready to go, Kendo. Taking a look at that 3v3 a little earlier.
Yeah, we do see what should have been the kill confirmed, and now we see the Jungkook getting caught out just a little bit. Merciful Crow coming in, trying to keep the zone off alive. Instead, that ends up being Cheese Mix taking the brunt of really an absolute slaughter. Those three, they needed to get out. They helped each other. It was a noble sacrifice of the Leona, and they really should count their lucky stars that there wasn't some sort of snipe out of the Ziggs at the tail end.
We saw in the top lane, it did get Tent Garcia getting ganked away. Para04 able to use that Unstoppable Force yet again to get the kill onto the Aatrox, but they don't get a tower or anything out of that. Meanwhile, on the bottom lane now, it's going to be Merciful Crow and Void in their own little island in the bottom lane, trying to be able to just get a towers or NCS. Para04, however, trying to flash away Pony Goat, taking down the rock. I don't care how hard you are on the oh my god, what's the name of the hardness scale there, Kendo? I forget, but regardless, he's like a 3 or something out of 10, nowhere near a diamond at this point, and he will end up getting caught out. Jungkook looking like he's gonna be caught out as well, as he gets knocked up and obliterated by Ted Garcia, making it a 2-0 across the rips there, Kendo.
Oh my goodness, and you have to forgive me if I say it wrong. It's the Moz hardness scale. I know how it's spelled. I don't know how it's pronounced off the top of my head. And yeah, that definitely did not go well for Para. They are looking to defend this mid lane secondary tower, and they're doing okay. But with Void lurking, this really just one Pop Blossom away from being yet another last stand. All three of them, the dive coming in. Void taking the time. Great patience here by DA Obsidian, looking for the mistakes, and they're just going to zone off and get themselves ready, as well as secure the Drake.
Yep, that is Cloud Soul for game number 3. So we had an Ocean Soul, an Infernal Soul, and a Cloud Soul now for game number 3. I mean, I don't think it's that weak. I think, you know, the extra movement speed, the extra ability haste, it's really good. And especially when you've got, you know, Forgotten Turtle that wants that extra movement speed out of the Killer Instinct, able to get that repositioning coming through from Cheese Mix as well. But now let's take a look at the bottom lane. Potentially a really good Pop Blossom for Void if he wants to go for it. But no, he's going to end up going down. We're going to get a teleport coming through from Para04 to maybe get this kill on to Void as well. World Ender did get popped by Ted Garcia. Para04 biting off way more than he can chew. Is still in the front line. Not going to go down because they do get the reinforcements for the rest of VBU. Alistair now waiting in the wings as well. Does have Flash ready to go for a Pulverize if necessary.
Oh, no.
But taking a look at the top lane right now, it's Pony Goat. One of the best Siege Masters in the game. Going to be able to pick up the first Tier 2 tower in the contest. Headbutt Pulverize going to land the Dragon's Rage. Going to be able to get the displacement away so that Merciful Crow is able to survive. And a huge Solar Flare. Another teleport going to come in now, this time from Para04. Merciful Crow was the last teleport a little earlier. Maybe going to try to go for an Unstoppable Force. Nope, not going to find anything just yet. And both teams are going to disengage for the time being, though, Kendo. Really big push coming in from Pony Goat in the top lane. And no kills, really, for VBU Neon.
Outside of the initial death there by KGB, and I gotta say, there are multiple quote-unquote reasons to go. When KGB comes in and disrespects your Grump like that, you gotta go in on him. So, happy to see that VBU Neon did not let that pass. And now, Para, you can't let this pass either. Para finally getting punished for being way too far forward in the bot lane.
He has been so aggressive in these fights. All he has is a Sunfire Aegis at this point. Does end up getting his plated skill caps as well. But I mean, he doesn't really have so much defense where he's just able to take that damage all alone. He didn't even use Unstoppable Force to try to get away. And that's going to be his 6th death of the game. And I mean, that's a big issue here for VBU Neon. 4-6-1 for Para04. But he also has over almost half of VBU Neon's deaths at this point in the contest. Turtle's going to get hit by the chains, but will survive. As we do get the CS just trying to come through. It does look like Merciful Crow will be able to get the top tier 1 tower for VBU Neon, Kendo. But with 10 seconds remaining until the Baron spawns, you know, at least they have that first dragon. So there's not going to be a 22-minute bear or dragon soul for DA Obsidian at this point. But still, they're behind by 7,000 gold 20 minutes into the game.
Oh, checking the top lane. Corky will just be able to get out, and Merciful Crow will find the mercy of the blue side of the rift, and they are going full on in here in the red jungle. Forgotten Turtle will get the kill on the Aatrox. KJB, however, will get the counter kill. An additional play here for Para as again, once, too deep. Oh, no.
Void will get that kill. Oh, it's the double kill for Void as well, Kendo. Nice play-by-play action there, my friend. That was actually really good. You said it perfectly. I mean, that was just misplay again by Para04 as the lead for DA Obsidian continues to grow. It's now an 8,400 gold lead at the 21-minute mark. 30 seconds remaining until the Cloud Drake spawns. This is a rough situation for VBU Neon to be in, but they are not out of the game again just yet. They still have the chance potentially to win this one, but we gotta point out what Void has been able to do in this game. 4-0-1, has the Everfrost, has 9 stacks on that Dark Seal. He is going to be extremely not extremely tanky, but extremely powerful here coming into the mid game. But it does look like we might be seeing another fight coming in for this Cloud Drake. VBU Neon maybe wanting to fight for it as we do get the safeguard right into the awaiting arms of the Nico. Just obliterates the jungler. There's the jungle attempt. You lose your jungler, and now DA Obsidian picking up their 3rd dragon of the game.
At this point, give him the Drake. Don't throw yourselves away. There's very low chance that you'll be able to pull that one off. And it really was a case of Jungkook getting too deep once again. I like the aggression out of VBU Neon, but now they're going to find themselves in a situation where not only are they on Soul Point or up against Soul Point, but they are losing priority on Baron to go with it.
Solar Flare gonna get used to disengage.
No.
Oh my word, Forgotten Turtle with that Leandry's damage, barely gonna survive. The Mega Inferno Bomb is about active, but now it's gonna be Jungkook, the next target. The Infernal Chains are gonna land, and it's gonna pull him right back in. Ted Garcia gonna be able to take that kill as Void takes the interior 2 tower in the mid lane. World Ender's gonna get popped by Ted Garcia to be able to to keep the rest of VBU Neon at bay for the remainder of this 4v5. Oh my goodness, these bouncing bombs just connecting. Look at the damage on a Merciful Crow. We'll be able to secure even more damage against Forgotten Turtle as well as they take the inhibitor against VBU Neon. Kendo, that was a huge push at the 24-minute mark.
To whom the death bowl tell. Okay, I'll learn how to talk eventually. I keep on looking at the Alistair and I'm thinking to myself, to whom the death bell tolls. And I wanted to make a cowbell reference, but I've already choked over my words 3 to 4 times. The bottom line is this. The mid-tower push, which we are going to get a replay of right now, has seen itself through, and that is a lot of pressure that DA Obsidian are going to be able to keep. We see Ziggs with the initial poke, zones out, and this is just, there's no real contest here by VBU Neon. Not until it's too late. Jungkook going down so early in that battle as well. It just seemed like they never really had a chance. All they could do was retreat from oncoming doom.
Oncoming traffic, oncoming doom, and now potentially an oncoming 3-0 victory for DA Obsidian. As we look at the mid lane, the Mega Inferno Bomb gonna get a kill for Pony Goat. He's looking for the double kill, but Ted Garcia's gonna get the kill on a Merciful Crow. Unstoppable Force being used to disengage for Para04. That is 2 members of VBU Neon down. Barely going to be able to survive. Para04 getting back to the fountain, but now with the pushing power of the Nico, of the Ziggs, they're able to get both towers down almost instantaneously. Baron not required, Cloud Soul not required. It is a kill and a win for DA Obsidian in game number 3, a sweep against VBU Neon.
Ouch. And VBU Neon. This is a back to the drawing board moment for them. Forgotten Turtle, but it was a respectable effort in the bot lane. No deaths. So, you know, you can't complain about that too much. But there's a difference between no deaths and no influence. You can have no deaths and have a 0 influence on the totality of this match, and that is what happened in the bot lane. The level 10 Forgotten Turtle getting dwarfed by the Yordle in Ziggs Pony Goat.
Oh man, Pony Goat 3, 1, and 8 again. Definitely a goat. I mean, shout out to Void 5, 0, and 2, but look at the CS diff between Pony Goat and Forgotten Turtle. 220 CS for the Ziggs against 144 for the 3-0 Kaisa. And I mean, you know, they both had 3 kills. They both were able to get a decent early game, but it's still a 5,000 gold advantage for Pony Goat. He was able to get so many towers yet again. I was able to get all of that early game turret plate gold. Not only that, the Rift Herald going to get used by Corey JJ, brought down to the bottom lane to give them an even further gold advantage. It was just a slaughter in terms of kills against VBU Neon in the top lane. Both Jungkook and Para04 going 8 and 14 total, 4-7 each. I mean, they had a really tough go of it in the top lane, and that wasn't really where Ponygoat was involved in the early game. In the early game, Para04 was just dying to Ted Garcia. Yes, Ted Garcia went 6-5-4, but I mean, there really wasn't enough influence that Jungkook had in the early game to warrant the Lee Sin, and still going 4-7-3, getting caught out a little bit too far. It's just a rough game in general for the top lane of the jungler for VBU Neon.
And I think this goes back to our opening remarks about VBU Neon. They were searching for an identity, and they're still searching. They are still going to be looking for what should they do next. And I think that's going to be what they need to find throughout this season. Yes, you're 1-5 right now, but we're still very early on. You're still capable of pulling off greatness, but it's going to come one summon to the rift at a time. I do like the aggression that we saw out of VBU Neon. The aggression was something that was refreshing. It didn't pay off in certain stints. In fact, there are a couple of overcommits that could have easily been preventable, and they also kind of shortened the game time that we had in number 3. But the aggression, I think, is something that if they put that and combine it with how they are able to kite themselves away. They did a great job of bending and not breaking throughout this series. You combine that with the aggression that we saw here and bridle that aggression back just a little bit, this could be a very dangerous team down the road. That being said, for DA Obsidian, we came in with a lot of questions. I think we have a lot of answers, Moose. This is a very good team, formidable in all lanes.
For sure. I mean, everyone performed exceptionally well throughout the entire series. Shout outs to DA Obsidian. They're going to be able to keep their flawless record. Going to go 6-0 here in the bracket so far between 2 weeks. We're going to take a quick break before we go back into our little post show. We're going to get an interview from one of the players from DA Obsidian in just a moment. I think you guys have a good idea of who's it going to be, but we're going to take a break, get that set up, and then we'll be back before you know it. Interview's going to be here in just a moment.